Hey, what's up, everyone? Anthony here, AFT Dog Training. A lot of stuff going on in the dog training world right now. Um, a lot of organizations and companies trying to force the way that they believe in training, how they train dogs, onto how you train your dog and how you own your dog. So, this is happening a little bit with raising kids. Um, you know, a lot of people, even when I'm growing up, I'm 39. When my parents needed to give me a little smack on the butt, they weren't bad parents and they weren't child abusers. The dog training world is very unique. It's very stressful to be a part of. You'll meet some of the nastiest people in the world, and it's usually from the positive, only and force free side of dog training. Um, they do not, they believe that the dog is the only species on this planet that is to learn with positive reinforcement only. It's very, very, very important for you to understand the science of dog training. A lot of, even there's some balance trainers, not a lot, there's some balance trainers that don't want to even talk about science, but you have to. Just like there's a science, data driven way to run a business, there's data driven way in science to train dogs. And what they're doing is using propaganda, and I'm specifically talking about the recent Petco shock collar ban in their store. The hypocrisy about it is they're going to still sell bark collars, they're going to still sell electric fences. They do not want the owner to have a remote collar in their hand because they think that you're completely stupid. That's Petco's words, not mine. So they do not want you to have a remote in your hand. They want the dog to self-learn to stop barking with the bark collar and to self-learn with an electric fence. But they don't want to sell a remote collar to you. Now, I am a type of remote collar trainer, though, where I would actually like if you've seen a professional dog trainer for any dog training, any, if you're going to train your dog to do things. We've all owned dogs at some point in our life that were just Mr. Magoo. They hung around, you know, I get customers all the time, or clients. Oh, I had this dog, man. We never did anything with it. We just hung out and it was a joy. Never ran out of the yard, just hang around, man. That's not the case as much anymore because of bad breeding and, to me, positive training, positive only training. So the dog never has a consequence. And it's gotten this ridiculous where some dog trainers, especially here in the Lehigh Valley, on their website, if they catch you saying no to the dog, they want to call animal control on you for animal abuse. You think I'm kidding? This is where it's going now. Petco wants to ban collars. Where does this stem from? I've been saying this for months on this podcast. There is a shock coalition by the Pet Professional Guild. The guy that runs it, I haven't released a video at, Dan Hansen, he's the person running the shock coalition. 0.0 videos on dog training. None. They can't find them anywhere. But he's the one running the coalition to ban the tools. So there is a ton of money involved with Petco's decision. Petco's decision is based completely on financial and ideology. That's it. It's not backed by science at all. And you can see that clearly by the dog training videos that we've been posting and my colleagues. It's a fact. It's backed by video evidence. You can see it if anybody has an eyes and a brain. And it's backed by science. So the science of dog training is you have 4 quadrants. This is where this is coming from. Petco says positive reinforcement. That's why it's important for you to understand these 4 quadrants. All dog trainers use all 4 quadrants. It's a fact. It's not even up for debate. The only reason why you would think that it's not a fact and it's not backed by science is because you're inside of a cult mindset. You got to back away, take your pride, back away and look at the science and the definition of the terms that you're using. All right? Every dog trainer is a positive reinforcement dog trainer. So you have 4 quadrants. This is where this comes from because I have to go through this before I proceed. You have 4 quadrants in learning theory that is based off the positive reinforcement. That's part of one of the quadrants. So you have positive reinforcement when you're rewarding the dog for doing an action. You're giving them a treat. Dog sits, you give a treat. Example. You have negative punishment. Dog doesn't sit, you take the treat, you remove something the dog likes for them to do an action, which is the sit, which is negative punishment. Right off the bat, why doesn't Petco say positive reinforcement, negative punishment there? Because they want you to feel, they think that you're stupid and you're just going to fall for this. That's the only reason. So negative punishment is removing something the dog likes, a toy or a treat, for them to do a wanted action. Then you have positive punishment. That is applying an aversive to stop an unwanted behavior. It's causing some kind of discomfort to the dog to stop an unwanted behavior. An example. The dog is jumping, you simply push them off with your hands. You just use positive punishment. The dog goes to jump, you just hold the leash. Positive punishment. The leash is an extension of your hand. The dog wants to go in one direction, you have a harness on the dog, you simply hold the leash, the dog unharness and comes back. You applied an aversive to stop an unwanted behavior, which was to pull in that direction. Then you have negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is applying an aversive for a dog to do a wanted behavior. So you're holding the leash and you just say, come here, buddy, move him over this way. You want him, you're applying an aversive for him to be over here next to you, a wanted behavior. That is negative reinforcement. Another term of negative reinforcement in human world, if you ever held your kid's hand, your significant other's hand, you're applying an aversive, holding the hand, and walking down the street. It's fact, it's science. Some people might get mad at the example. Get mad at the science then. That is the same thing. All right? So when Petco here, even they're running an ad, which is lying, right on Google when I looked them up. Petco, stop the shock, positive reinforcement. So what Petco wants to think you as the consumer is a complete moron idiot. That's what Petco wants you to believe. That they're only using positive reinforcement. You're never removing the treat from the dog, negative punishment. You're never having a leash on the dog and guiding them into a position, which would be negative reinforcement. And you're never having a leash on the dog, I don't care if it's a harness, and stopping the dog from pulling in one direction unknowingly or knowingly, which is positive punishment. This is the science. This is facts. It's not up for debate if you're going to use learning theory and continue to use it. If not, remove the science altogether. Because you can't have it both ways. So when you're using any dog training tools, I'm going to give you an example. If there's anything attached to the dog, I do not care if it's a buckle collar, a martingale, a prong collar, a gentle leader, a head halty, a canine lifeline, or a harness. all four quadrants are being used if you're rewarding the dog at all with positive reinforcement or negative punishment, or to have them do an action. But the quadrants of negative reinforcement and positive punishment are absolutely being used, and it's backed by science and what they are saying. What Petco wants you to believe, and the amount of data that I have in my forms, if any university wants to do a study, I have thousands of clients that have filled out forms, and within those forms are hundreds of clients that have gone specifically to Petco's training and has completely failed them. Behind closed doors, they try to put a prong collar in the back so no one sees on the dog. Alright? There's nothing wrong with the prong collar. The prong collar is the safest dog training tool. I don't like the prong collars Petco sells. Very cheap prong collars that are made in China that are not good quality whatsoever. So, here we are. I'm about to click on this link. I'm trying to be as cordial and calm and talking to science about this because I see so many of my other colleagues so pissed off about what Petco did that it's hard to have a conversation with them because they're irritated and mad, and rightfully so. But this is why it's important to have this conversation about the science. No matter how many videos I show of Zach George or Victoria Stilwell or Gene Donaldson or Dr. Ian Dunbar choking dogs or leash popping or positive punishment, using positive punishment over and over again, who are the top echelon of positive reinforcement trainers, who are the ambassadors of this type of company. No matter how many videos I show, the positive reinforcement and force-free dog trainers can care less. They do not care. So when I see my balanced dog training colleagues sharing videos of balanced dog trainers doing minute things, just things that I'm not even going to mention here, but just the stupidest stuff. And then saying that is bad, trying to police your own. And meanwhile, Zach George damn near hang a dog for half an hour on a leash. Victoria Stilwell takes a muzzle, never muzzle conditions a Great Dane, throws it, forces it onto the dog, and then whips the dog's neck around like you would never believe. And then they're trying to say the gentle leader is a safe collar. According to the doctors, it says no. Chiropractors, veterinarian chiropractors say no way. They're not safe. They cause severe injury to the neck. Veterinary chiropractors talk about the severe injury harnesses cause to the shoulders, to the neck, to the legs. I got an 8-month-old French bulldog I'm training right now. It already needs ACL surgery from pulling a 100-and-something pound person. This little French bulldog's pulling around on a harness. Of course it needs surgery. Alright? So they make no pull harnesses. That the whole purpose of the no pull harness is to inflict pain, and this is just the facts on how it's designed. If it's a front clip harness, it's the same thing. This is just facts. It's really not up for debate. I mean, this is the whole reason it's designed is to pinch the dog's shoulders together until they stop pulling, in hopes that they stop pulling. Zach George and Victoria Stilwell sells this type of collar, calls it positive only, and thinks you're dumb to believe it. I don't think you're dumb. I think once somebody explains it like this to you, you should be able to say, wow, you know what? The science makes sense. Why are they lying to me? Like right here. So Petco, this is the ad. I looked them up on Google here. Just typed in Petco shock collar. First thing comes up, stop the shock. So, stop the shock, picture of scissors cutting off the remote collar. And it says, it ends today. Today we stop the pain for Buddy because he barks at the doorbell. First of all, they're not stopping bark collars. Alright? We stop the stress for Sadie because she jumps for joy all over their neighbor when they walk in the door. So just off of the first two sentences alone, they say, today we stop the pain for Buddy because he barks at the doorbell. First of all, who's inflicting the pain and hitting the dog up on the remote collar to do that? A remote collar dog trainer is not doing that, right? Petco's continuing to sell the bark collars, but they want you to say that there's another way to train dogs, and this is why the money's involved, the business side. I own multiple businesses, own various commercial properties, own multiple doggy daycares. I own the commercial properties on them. I know business. So Petco, the reason why they're banning the remote collars, and I know from my own town with Petco dog trainers, is that the remote collars, as seen by scientifically backed video evidence, remote collar dog trainers are succeeding in training dogs very well. And Petco dog trainers cannot compete. And I've had clients of mine go to Petco dog training, and they hear the nasty things that they say about myself and e-collar training. They stop that class and they come to us, and we train that dog properly. And that dog does not pull on leash and bark nasty and try to attack other dogs. You know, the money situation behind it is, if we don't sell the e-collars anymore, we'll push our positive reinforcement dog training in-house. And that way we can't compete. You know, we'll make sure when the people walk through the door that the local remote collar trainer isn't an animal abuser. And then we're going to push our positive reinforcement ideology, which is not backed by science. There's no video evidence of any of the studies that any of the universities done. Right? So no study has a video attached to it. I do not believe it. I can make my own study up. Remember this. I took 10 one-legged dogs and I had them climb a 200-foot tree by using juicy treats in the clicker. It was amazing to see. You would want to see that video. Why in the world would you believe any other dog training study when they're forcing this stuff if there's no video attached to the study? When nowadays you have a cell phone that all you got to do, a lot of force-free positive dog trainers have a problem with this. All you have to do is click on the little camera button, hit record. It's pretty simple. Usually I have a $20 stand for it. If I can't find that, I'll just like brace it up against something to make sure I get the video for it to back up the science of the dog training that I'm doing. So just off this first sentence with Petco, we want to stop the pain for Buddy because he barks at the doorbell. So I'm going to give you how they're going to stop that. They're going to stop him from barking. They're going to throw treats on the floor. This happens now. I get clients in already from this. What did he do? He barked. What did you do? Throw treats on the floor. Well, how many times did you do that? 1,000 times. What did he do? He barked more. Okay. Next client. All right, I went Petco training. What happened? You know, he's barking. All right, yeah. So what'd you do? Oh, well, we taught him a sit. Oh, so you taught him a new behavior. So how'd that work out? Well, he started barking while he was sitting. Well, you never taught him not to bark though? No. They said that they don't want you to tell the dog not to do something, to teach them to do something else. I said, okay, so what happened then? Oh, I taught him to do a paw. So what did he do when you taught him to do a paw? Oh, he still barked. Well, why would he still bark? Oh, well, he told me to give him a treat when I gave him a paw. And he was barking at the same time. And then after he barked, they told me, look, he's not barking. Give him a treat right now. Split second later. So that's their way of doing things. So my son's here. Another kid's over here. My son gets into a fist fight with the kid. Immediately, as soon as I say, hey, AJ, stop fighting that kid. He looks at me. I give him a lollipop. Split second later. AJ, sit in that chair there. Good. We're never going to address the fighting part, though. You're sitting in the chair. 5 minutes later, he gets up, he fights the kid again. Well, I just taught him to sit in a chair. He shouldn't be fighting a kid anymore. That's their way of thinking of dog training. And there's no video evidence of it working. So here we go. Next sentence. I'm going to pick this whole thing apart. We stop the stress for Sadie because she jumps for joy all over the neighbors when they walk in the door. The stress for Sadie? What about the neighbors that the dog's jumping all over? What if I've had clients where the dog jumped on the grandmother. The grandmother's hospitalized for months. Nearly died. That's why the dog came to us for training. Guess where they went for training with their dog prior to coming to us? Petco. Guess how they did the training? Dog jumped, threw treats on the ground. 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 Now say that 1,000 times. That's how many times I told the dog to do it. Now it's a disservice for us real dog trainers applying science, because the not bad dog trainers, but ideology-based dog training of just saying positive only has told the dog to do the jumping 1,000 times. And now we have to tell them not to do that. So the first one is they don't want any discomfort or telling the dog not to do anything for barking. So dogs are going to be returned to the shelter and rescue. If you're a shelter or rescue person, they will absolutely come back. I was a vice president of animal shelter, one of the biggest ones in Pennsylvania here. Due to my health issues, I'm going for surgery. I had to resign. They want me back. I will be coming back as soon as my surgeries are done. But today we stopped paying for Buddy because he barks. The apartment, the condo, the homeowners association is not putting up with Buddy barking. So good, Petco, you're going to put him back at the rescue shelter because they're not putting up with that. The HOA don't care because you refuse to tell the dog not to bark. So congratulations to all the positive force-free rescues. Those dogs are coming back. We stop the stress for Sadie for the jumping. So congratulations, the dogs are going to hurt somebody because they don't want to tell the dog not to jump. All right, next sentence. We stop the fear for Cooper because he prefers a good pair of sneakers over the chew toys on the market. Are you kidding me? So because you tell the dog not, and this is not even that, what's this have to do with a remote collar? You're setting up this nonsense of a paragraph that has nothing to do with a remote collar. I'm just going to put the words here. We stopped my son AJ from biting his nails because he wanted to play the PS4. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Read that sentence again. And we stopped the fear for Cooper because he prefers a good pair of sneakers over all the chew toys on the market. That has nothing to do with remote collar training. Okay? All the first three sentences have nothing to do with remote collar training at all. But they're forcing their ideology. They think you're dumb. They think you're an actual moron. I don't. So what they prefer, according to Petco, is that your dog eats your sneakers and dies. I'm not kidding. Petco's words. We stopped the fear for Cooper because he prefers a good pair of sneakers over the chew toys on the market. What remote collar trainer is saying for a dog not to have a chew toy? I mean, what the hell are they talking about? Ron Coughlin, I challenge you to have a debate with me. I will donate $1,000 to your foundation if you have a debate with me. Because I guarantee you what? Your butt's about to be schooled. Big time, dude. Because if you have the nerve, because he signs off on this, to say this, you're in a different realm of a remote collar trainer that you probably never been around then. I don't understand what kind of trainers you've been around. You've been around either the Pet Professional Guild or positive only dog trainers, and they have forced this ideology onto you and turned you into a cult member. Because nothing you said in the first 3 sentences have anything to do with remote collar. So let's go on to the next one. As of today, Petco no longer sells shock collars operated by a person with remote in hand. They think you're an idiot. They think you're a moron. You should be outraged. You should be giving them bad reviews. I will never give them another dollar. Unless Ron Coughlin wants to come out for my debate that I challenge him with. So he thinks that the public's dummies. They shouldn't have a remote collar in hand, but they want to have a bark collar and an e-fence still to sell with no human involved so that the dog could figure it out themselves. Because as a health and wellness company dedicated to improving pet lives, they have no business in our business. But the bark collar and the e-fence does? Because it provides money to you? And what about everything else you sell? Like the not nutritionist, like dog food. The food and treats that are really not good for dogs or the cats. That's okay. Who cares if the dogs are dying overweight? One of the biggest killers right now in dogs. Ron Coughlin don't, because he thinks you're a moron. Let's continue. And frankly, we believe there's a better way. So today, we say, out with shock collars and in with positive training. Now, this is why I said in the very beginning of this podcast is going to be a long one. All dog trainers, if they're marking the dog for doing something, praising with a pet treat, they're positive dog trainers. The 4 quadrants, when he's saying here, why don't he say, so today we say out with shock collars and in with positive training / negative punishment / negative reinforcement / positive punishment. Because he thinks that the public is a moron. They think that you're idiots. Because the science that he's using says that the dog is on negative reinforcement and positive punishment with the leash attached. Unknowingly or knowingly, you're doing it. We're going to continue. We say goodbye to remote controls that cause pain and hello to expert trainers who mentor pets and pet parents of positivity, patience, and compassion. That entire sentence is a lie. Look at the video evidence, and you remember your pride and what you are duped into believing. You have to step back, take a breath, because you're going to get angry by watching the science-backed dog training with remote collar on how well it works. You get mad at that, but you don't get mad. The hypocrisy, what makes people that don't want to open their mind up about that, is the hypocrite that they allow Zach George, Gene Donaldson, Dr. Ian Dunbar, who else? Victoria Stilwell, hang dogs on leashes, and they're fine with it. They are fine with it. Petco's fine with it. I have videos of it. People have sent me lists of videos they want me to critique, and they're doing it. They're using positive punishment, negative reinforcement, negative punishment, and positive reinforcement, all in bad ways by positive dog trainers. That's what they call themselves. We'll continue. Again, the remote collar, all dog training tools are aversive. All of them. Every single one. A harness, a no pull harness, a pinching harness, a prong collar, martingale, a buckle collar, a gentle leader, a canine lifeline. They are all aversive dog training tools. A whistle. In the one episode of Victoria Stilwell, dogs' ears are so sensitive. So she's calling the dogs back from fighting at the fence, and she goes higher on purpose on the whistle to cause a discomfort, pain to the dog's ears for them to come back at that moment. And then that's more of a positive punishment with the whistle. And then she uses a slighter whistle blow for the dog to come back in training, which is negative reinforcement. But she says it's positive only. And that is a lie. It's not true. But they think you're a moron. I don't. So we're going to continue. Today we call on the rest of the pet industry and anyone who loves their pets to join our movement and help us drive positive change beyond just Petco. And this is why I support the hashtag ban Petco. Hashtag ban Petco. I will never give them another dollar. If you love your pets and you love rescue and shelter dogs, you see all the dogs that we save. You see the dogs that my colleagues save. The training tools matter. There's one thing if Petco wanted to, let's say, not sell remote collar for the consumer and for them to see a professional for whatever reason, I'm okay with that. Okay, that's fair statement. If you don't trust the public for whatever reason that they're not able to use remote collars, but they're allowed to use harnesses that cause ACL surgeries, shoulder injuries, all types of other things, but you're okay with, you don't want to sell a remote collar, that's fine. But to put out this statement about pain and discomfort and it's the worst training device and you're calling out people like me as being some kind of animal abuser, Ron Coughlin has a lot of nerve. He's a piece of crap in my eyes, because that's the farthest thing from the truth. And people that have gone through Petco training should be speaking out. Speak out and tell your story. So, we're going to continue. Today we encourage anyone using or looking for shock collars to consider training with treats instead of electricity and partnership with instead of pain. Do you know how many deaf dogs we've saved? There are positive reinforcement, the trainers he's talking about, blocks away from the shelter. They don't do any dog training with any dog with behavior issues. I know that as a fact because I'm there. They're not working with any deaf dog that has any issues, aggression issues. You know how many aggressive behavior dogs I have and my team has saved using remote collar communication on a deaf dog? You know how many deaf dogs come to my daycares? At some of my daycares, I get 100, 150 dogs a day at just one location. Some of them are deaf. They're on remote collar. And it's a fantastic tool to communicate with them. They love it. The military and police officers use remote collar. This is a fact. All right. So we're going to look up military canine remote collar. Let's see if we come up with anything. A lot of the images that you see, they're on remote collar. When they're getting dropped off, let's say over in the Middle East, they're able to track them with a Garmin system. All right. So what Petco is saying is that our military and police officers, which almost all of them are on remote collars at this point, are animal abusers. How are you calling our military and police officers that, Ronnie? What is wrong with you, dude? Like, if you have American pride, I would not be calling our military and police that. Because remember, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't say, well, they're not training with pain. It's only maybe them. No. Bullcrap, dude. So, we're going to continue. In fact, we'll cover your first positive training class if you let us. Now, there is the business. Let's ban the e-collars and get them into our group classes, because we are losing money because the e-collar trainers are kicking butt, and we need to get that training back in here. So if we don't sell the e-collars at all, then we can really push that they're hurting dogs and then we can say all these bad things about e-collar trainers in the area, and we'll have positive trainers in here. This is coming from a company that banned pit bulls. You have pit bull? Yeah, they don't like you. All right? Any type of pit bull mix, they don't like you either. You're not a good dog owner. That's from them, not me. Let's continue. Learn what we're taking off of our shelves and add your voice to our petition below. And thank you for always helping us give all pets their best lives. Today we stop the shock. Ronnie Coughlin. Complete hypocrite. And where I believe this is coming from is the Pet Professional Guild really going through this. And I would remember this stuff. I don't care if there's doctors involved with this crap. I always say, who are you going to trust more? Somebody that just graduated with a criminal justice degree, a master's degree, or a PhD, they just got out of college, or a police officer that's been working the streets for 20 years. All right? That's why I don't believe in any of these doctors. Because you could see in the video, Dr. Ian Dunbar is in his 50s or 60s or older, choking dogs, and he's still doing it. He's screaming at dogs for enforcing fear onto dogs. He's a doctor. He's a doctor. He learns from them. He teaches them. So that is my position. My position on Petco is they have a lot of nerve calling our military and police canine officers pain trainers. That's what they did. You can't cafeteria dog train and pick who you want on who you want to have, say is a good remote collar trainer in the broad aspect of things. I would, if I was a military or police canine officer, I wouldn't shop at Petco anymore because of that. I will not shop at Petco anymore because of their take on lying to the public on purpose. And I just provided facts and science, the very science that they are talking about and using, and provided video evidence here from what they say there and prove them wrong. It's not even, you can't even really have a debate about it. Remember, veterinarians are not dog trainers, so this here means nothing. Veterinarians send their dog to me to be trained. I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't know how to operate on a dog. But I know how to train a dog. Veterinarians don't. So it just came up on my face here. Just reading some of these quotes. So, like fear, you have Dr. Ian Dunbar, he says to scare and fear a dog and scream at them to teach them thresholds. They never police their own, ever. Then you have their top echelon ambassadors, Victoria Stilwell, Zach George, hanging dogs, slamming dogs around on a leash. Animal control wasn't called, or the Humane Society. Why not? Any other person would have that happen. But my whole thing is, after reading this whole thing, Petco thinks you're stupid. They think you're a moron. They think you're an idiot. They don't think that you can learn and understand the science of dog training that I just explained. You can look it up yourself. You can look at our videos on dog training. What I'm hoping doesn't come from this video is what force-free and positive-only dog trainers are known to do, which is give death threats to me, my children, my family. Petco trainers are known to do that as well. Petco allows it. They like it because it pushes their agenda and makes them money. Because if they are social media mob, an e-collar trainer like me or my colleagues, it's more money for their pocket because people will get duped into not coming to us then. But that's why I videotape evidence, all these stuff. So I challenge, when you do go to training at Petco, videotape the class. Videotape every class you go in. if they don't allow a video, which I allow all my seminars to be videotaped, and I allow my dog training classes to be videotaped, and I allow my private sessions to be videotaped, and we videotape our board and train programs. If Petco does not allow you to videotape the classes, think about why. Think about why. All right, everyone. You have a nice day. I tried to stay as cordial without screaming and getting mad and cursing, but this makes me not happy. I've been saying for months, my job, as if you've been to training with me, is to keep you informed. My job is to keep you informed about what's going on in the dog industry. And I've been saying for years, they've done it over the UK. They're killing dogs left and right, trying to ban tools. 30% of their animals. That's coming here if it does get done here. You have these shelters that say they only use positive only. I think, don't take my word on it, but I think San Francisco has PCA or something. They train positive only and do all this stuff. They choose the very easy ones. They send all the little tiny behavior issues and major behavior issues down to the LA shelter. They get killed. That one there, it's barking and jumping and stuff. Yeah, get that out of here. Oh, the easy one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, take that one. Go kill that one. Murder that one there. Yeah, that one there will take treats. And we're still going to use all the quadrants, but we're just going to say we're not. And the public's going to believe it. Don't believe it, because I just provided the science to you. I'm taking the term science back. That's why I put the word science in my postings, because you have to, once you understand the science behind it, you understand the BS that's behind this Petco thing. So, all right, everyone, have a nice day. I think I spent enough time on this. I got to figure out how to turn this off again. So, this was a longer video. But take care, everyone.